Alright, this video is to go over arrays, just reviewing them, and use this information to help you get ready for the AP test this year. Alright, so some very basics of it is uh, arrays just when you use them when you have a variable of multiple values of the same type. So if I had a bunch of test scores, I wouldn't want to do int score 1 equals 7, int score 2 equals 8, int score 3 equals 47, whatever. That'd take a long time. So the idea is you can make an array that has however many spots you need. Like if I have 20 students, I'd make an array for 20 different spots to score one for each student's score. Okay, so I listed out on here. Um, Lots of different ones. So like a set of 10 test scores. If you have a bunch of friends, maybe you have 100 friends, you can make an array of strings, 100 strings. It might be 8 house ball games, and you want to keep track of how many points you score each game. So you could make an array with 8 slots, one for each game. All right. So just a couple ways you can create them. The more common way is you actually do int, and then instead of one int, you do bracket bracket because it's an array. Give it a name, and then you can use these curly braces with comma to store the values. So this one would have 4 different ints indexed from 0 to 3. Okay, and then the other way you can actually create an array, which is what is more likely you'd have to do on the AP test, is you do one that's just blank. So you do int bracket bracket again, but you specify how many scores you have. So again, if I have 20 students, it would look like that, except I forgot the word new because I'm an idiot. So you do like this, and that would give you an array with just all zeros, 20 zeros indexed from 0 to 19. All right, and so that's the more common way you'd have to do it on the AP test. Usually they give you the values, or you don't have to worry about populating them, so you don't really have to do the first way too much. Okay, and I think that's it. So from here, where we're gonna go is I have some notes again for you. This is called array notes for the AP test. There should be a link to the folder for today. And so get that file along with you'll need car.java. It's actually the same car.java from the other day. So if you just want to copy it down into the same folder or put this folder in the same spot as the other one, however you want to set it up, you'll need car.java and then these notes. And much like before, your goal is to try and read through these and do it on your own first. And then as you get stuck or when you want to check your answers, hit go on this video and watch it from there. All right, so if you're watching this at this point, you should have tried all these already. Okay, and here you just checking. All right, and I'm in array notes right now. So I want to create an array of ints, and so I'm going to do int, and then what's different for an array is you have to do bracket bracket to say that I have more than one int I want to store here. Use the name, and then I'm going to do new int, and then however many I've got. So I've got 10 scores there. Okay, they start at position 0. So if I want position 0 to have a score of 25, I just do the name of the array and then the position I want to modify, which is 0, and I'm just going to set it to be 25. So once I do test scores 0, that is an actual int, and I'm just changing it, setting it to 25, right? And it's not all that different than if I had like int x, right? And then I want to set x to be 12, right? The only difference is I have to specify which of my scores, right? Because test scores variable is an array, so I have to say which spot do I want to change. Okay, so if I want to increase the position 5, and that, sorry if that's not clear, if it's index 5 or position 5, but we're just going to do index 5. Should have said maybe index 5 there. But at any rate, I do that, and I want to increase by 1, so I'm just going to do plus plus, just like I can with any int, right? I can't do test scores plus plus because that's an array, but once I specify a position, that's just an int, and then I can do plus plus to that. I know the last spot is 9 here, but so I could just do 9 and print it out. So I could do sys out, and then I could do test scores position 9. But generally you don't want to do that because if we change the size back here or the length, then it's not going to work anymore. So if I know that the length is 10, right? If I do test scores.length, then I can just minus 1 from that. So for this index, what I want to do instead of 9 is I want to do test scores.length, which is 10, and then minus 1, and that'll get me the last spot. Right, which again is just a 0 because by default they're all set to 0. All right, now we want to loop through and count any that are above 90. And again, this loops and arrays are kind of like peanut butter and jelly. Like they super very much go together. All right, and the idea is you want to loop through the indexes. So the indexes, if you go back and look as an example, it goes from 0 less than the length. So this length would be 4 here. So we'd go 0 less than the length. And that would get us 0, 1, 2, 3, the indexes we want if we increase by 1. All right, so for our loop, we're just going to do for int I, which really stands for index here, of 0 and I less than the length. Test scores at length plus I. Okay, and so we're going to check if the ith score is above 90. So I'm going to call test scores, and the position I'm at is changes. It's just I. But if that is above 90, then I want to increase the count, which I didn't make. Go back and make the count of 0. All right, and then at the end of it, we can do whatever we want. I guess it doesn't say in the directions there, but it's just outprint. Or if it was a method, we could return that count. All right, hopefully that makes sense. So besides doing primitives, you can also do regular objects as an array. So you do it the same as you would before, where I do car, and then I give it a name. Oh, sorry, I have to do bracket because it's an array. So now it's going to be array of car objects instead of one car. Then it's going to do new car bracket, and then if I want 6, I just need a 6 there. All right, and these by default are all null. All right, so down here, again, we're going to have to assume that the array has already been populated. So we're just going to assume that the cars array has already been populated. All right, otherwise it's just all null. So we're just going to assume that it's been populated at this point. Okay, so to loop through, I could do a loop very similar to before. Like literally, you could do this exact same thing, except it would be cars.length instead of test scores.length. But I'm going to show the enhanced version of this again. So how that works is you just do for the type of the object that is in the array, which is car. And I'm just going to call it C. And then you do the name of the array or array list you're pulling from. In this case, cars. Okay, so this will get the cars one at a time. All right, and then we want to see if the type starts with H. So I want to do string type and then just call c.getType. All right, and so that's now a string. I'm calling the getType method from car. And if you're not sure about that, you can open up car and like look in here. That's a type variable, and I call getType to get it. Okay, and then I want to check if it starts with an H. So basically, I want to look at the first letter. So I want to do if type dot substring. I'm going to go from 0 to 1. That's just going to be the first letter. We're going to see if that equals an uppercase H. And then I'm going to have to increase my count. So I have to use count 2 because I already used count. Set that to be 0. And again, at the end, I could sys out print it or something. All right, so I got the car, then got its type, and then checked if that type was equal to H, uppercase H. The only other thing is technically if it was null, I mean, if we fully populated, we don't have to worry about null. But if we really want to get detailed here, we should do if type is not equal to null. All right, so we should check that before we do type.substring, just so we don't get a null pointer exception. But that's if you didn't have this part, not the end of it. All right, so hopefully that gives you a good review of arrays. And again, I would save this someplace so you can reference it, especially for like how to do this enhanced for loop, or how to do the regular loop, or how to create one, right? Create an array. Hopefully those are all there for you because they should be useful come AP test time. All right, the rest of the stuff is really just a bunch of coding bats. So that's what's coming next. And there's videos to help with each one. The coding bats are sample AP question type one, so they should be really helpful for the test. They are pretty challenging, but use the help videos if you need to get unstuck. All right, hope you're doing well.